Welcome back, data people. Today let's talk about sparklines. Wait a minute, didn't we already do this? Yes, we did. But in the previous sparkline tutorial, I showed you how to create and customize your sparklines when using Google Sheets. And as I mentioned then, working with sparklines in Excel is a little more user-friendly. In Excel, you can set aside the formulas and almost never touch the keyboard for the same results. Better yet, Excel Sparklines gives you some added features that go a long way in customizing your visual data. Specifically, I'm talking about the addition of markers and easily grouping your lines for sheet-wide changes. Now, I'm going to spare you the full walkthrough on what sparklines are and what they do, but if you'd like a recap, here's where you'll find it. Just know that all the uses and general functions are the same whether you're in Google Sheets or Excel. Although I should mention one key difference. If you're fond of generating bar charts or progress bars with sparklines, you won't have that same option in Excel, at least not in the same sense, but we'll get to that. So for now, let's open our file and create some custom visual data.
Here we have a data set of various products listing their individual price, the number of units sold over 6 months, the total cost, and each item's total cost percentage of the entire group. To create our first sparkline, select the cell you want to place it, and under the Insert tab, choose Line. A new window appears asking you for the range of data to generate a sparkline, and the location of your sparkline is already set to the cell you chose. I'll go ahead and click into the data range field and then select the corresponding row of sold units. Hit OK and you'll see your sparkline populate. Just an FYI, I've already stretched the cell for this example, but you don't have to. It just might be a little difficult to present the visuals with the sort of impact you're looking for. Since we didn't use absolute cell references, let's drag the sparkline down to the other cells and see what happens. The other sparklines look accurate. We see the gaps for missing data in the correct highs and lows of each value. But if you try and click into one of the cells, you'll notice all the sparklines are highlighted together. That's because Excel has automatically grouped the section, and any changes you make to one will reflect on the others. This could be fine for your purposes, but if you did want to customize your sparkline separately, you can either create a line for each row or simply open the Sparkline tab and select Ungroup. Just be sure to select the entire range of sparklines to ungroup. If you selected an individual cell and hit Ungroup, the one sparkline is the only one to separate. With the column Ungroup, let me show you some of the options you have with sparklines in Excel. First up, let's add some markers, which are unfortunately not available in Google Sheets. Under the Sparkline tab, check the box for markers and your line now shows a little dot representing each value from your range. You can further customize the line using the Style section of the Sparkline tab. Opening the drop-down arrow will show you various pre-made stylings with different colors for both the line and markers. However, you can also select each element color uniquely with the two drop-down sections to the right. If we open the Sparkline color arrow, you can select the color of your choice or choose from a palette of more colors. Additionally, you have an option here to adjust the weight of the line, meaning you can change the thickness. I'll change my color to a burnt orange look and add some weight to the line. It looks better, but the marker's default color of red doesn't give me the effect I'm looking for. If you go under the marker color drop-down, not only can you change the default color, but you can also set unique colors depending on the value of the data point. Let's change the default color and set the high point marker to a yellow. This makes it easier for viewers to identify when the item hit its peak sales numbers for the period. Now we'll look at the next line and experiment with some of the other settings. The first thing I want to do is fix that gap between the two lines. You might prefer the blank area to show the lack of value, but for this example, I want the line to be continuous. To do that, select the cell and under the Sparkline tab, open the drop-down for Edit Data. Choose the option for Hidden and Empty Cells. By default, it's set to show a gap in the line. First, we'll connect the data points to get our single line representation. Hit OK and you'll see the two lines have become one. That is technically what I wanted, but it's misleading to someone looking at the data for the first time. There were no sales for that month, but the Sparkline doesn't present that fact very well. To fix that, let's go back to the hidden and empty cell settings and change our option to show as 0 values. That's a much more accurate reflection of our data. The empty value for March now shows on the sparkline as 0 with a discernible dip in the line. And like we did with the last sparkline, let's adjust the style. I'll add some color, and instead of the high point marker, I'll check the box to show its low point. Before moving on, I want to explain that checkbox you might have seen in the Hidden and Empty Cells window. Basically, checking it will lock in your sparkline so that even if the cells making up the data range are hidden, your sparkline still shows. I'll check it off and hit OK. Now I'll hide the columns of our data range. Do you see how every sparkline disappeared except for the second? Just something to keep in mind if your intent is to only show your sparkline for a presentation and not the data behind it. Next, I'll show you how to customize a column sparkline. I'll choose the cell below, and where line type is selected, I'll click column to change it. Take note of the first column. Looking at its value in the data range, there is a negative number. That's why the column seems to sit below the base of the others. Something like that should definitely be pointed out. If you look under the show section, you'll see the markers box is grayed out. Markers are only available for a line type, as is the line weight. But that doesn't mean we can't customize our visual data. I'll check off the negative points option, and you'll see the first column turn red. Like we did previously, you can change the colors of each column by using the Style section of the Sparkline tab. You can adjust the default color under the Sparkline color dropdown, and you can set specific colors to various data points under the Marker color dropdown. Another feature that will add some value, especially when dealing with negative columns, is the Axis feature. By adding an axis, you'll show a straight line representing the base or 0 value. Under the Sparkline tab, open the Axis dropdown and select Show Axis. You'll see the axis line sitting just between your positive and negative values. Lastly, you'll also have the option to reverse the order of your sparkline. You'd simply want to go back to the Axis dropdown and select the option to plot data right to left. Next, we'll go over win-loss sparklines. These are just like the column chart we previously created, except that all columns will show as the same height. This is a good feature for data when you only want to identify positive versus negative groupings. If I go down to the last row and change the line type to win-loss, you'll see the negative value sitting below an access point. Now, just because the height of each column is the same, doesn't mean Excel can't differentiate between their specific values. For instance, I could check off the show options for negative points, high points, and last point, and Excel has correctly identified these value classifications. From here, you can further customize the look of the sparkline by changing the colors of each point, adding an access line, or whatever else you find works for you. Lastly, I want to talk about progress bars. In Google Sheets, we can create sparklines with specific options to visualize a progress bar from a single cell of data. We can do the same in Excel, but using the Sparkline tool doesn't present as nicely. In column K, there is a percentage representing the part of the total sales that the row makes up. To create a Sparkline progress bar, I'll select the cell in column L and insert a column sparkline. Choose cell K2 for the data range, which is the percentage, and hit enter. Now drag the sparkline down for the rest. The cells are grouped together, and I'll keep it that way. The problem is our progress bars all look the same. To fix that, open the Axis dropdown and select Custom Value for the vertical axis minimum. When the window appears, just click OK. You want the custom minimum set to a value of 0. Go back to the Axis dropdown, this time selecting the custom value for the vertical axis maximum section. Set the value to 1.0 and hit OK. Now your progress bar sparklines are more representative of their actual percentages. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the best visual effect for a progress bar. A better option would be to use conditional formatting. Let's highlight the percentage cells in column K, and under the Home tab, open the drop-down for conditional formatting. Go to Data Bars and choose an option. In my opinion, this is much more appealing than the previous method. You could also further customize these bars, but that's for another video.
And there you have it. Adding sparklines in Excel is as simple as point and click. No need to worry about improper syntax or misspelling a defined option. Just make sure you be careful when grouping each line, as it's easy to make those sheet-wide changes by accident. But that's what the undo button's for, right? I hope you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing for more videos like this. And don't be shy. Let me know in the comments which application you prefer to use for adding visual appealing data, Google Sheets or Excel.